Good morning everyone, and here we are on a nice spring day. For once it's not raining or snowing or storming, and the bunnies are enjoying their encampment on the garden. Although they've disappeared, so they're probably burrowed out somewhere. So anyway, here we have the Hasegawa GR1 model. Now this is a very old model from Hasegawa. It really is in many ways a toy model now, especially after the introduction of the Airfix GR1, which kind of supersedes everything else. But my dad gave me this for free. Note to budget lady, it's not cost a penny, it was free. Unfortunately, it didn't have all the transfers, so I've had to do some of the markings by hand the best I can with paint. Obviously, I build WHATIF, and I'm happy to do that. So anyway, back to the Harrier model. It has a toy-like cockpit, a toy-like pilot figure, which I haven't included. But otherwise, the assembly and everything, apart from raised panel lines, goes together extremely well. The biggest deficiency with the kit is that when you see a Harrier early model and late model Harrier sat on the ground, these auxiliary intakes here, which I've painted black to kind of try and show them open, they're open much like the later AV8B Harrier Plus model here, and they close in flight, and when it's hovering they are open. Obviously with this being on the ground, they should be open. Otherwise the Hasegawa kit for its vintage is absolutely excellent. The parts fit is superb. The way they've done the intakes separately that fit on the side is wonderful, and there's no real construction issues. So if you're after a very basic Harrier, it is a very simple and basic one, but you can detail it up. I've added some Rockeyes because the Malagasys didn't use the BL 755 because it didn't work in the Falklands, and I've added an AN ALQ 119 jamming pod from the Hasegawa spares box. I've just reshaped the engine exhaust a little bit. The front exhausts on a Harrier are cold, so they are airframe colour, and the rear ones is where the hot exhaust gas comes out. This is done in the markings of the Malagasy Marine Corps circa 1984. And I've got a GR3 to build as well, which had the laser nose, which was a laser rangefinder, not a laser designator. Now the Harrier itself, it could bomb the end of the runway without fuel tanks, so I've added the 2 fuel tanks here, and just the 2 Rockeyes there, the anti-armour cluster bombs. And the idea of that is that when you have an amphibious landing, to protect the forces from any enemy armour and anything that's going to come against them, really you need to take out that armour. So that's what the Rockeyes are there for, as an anti-armour weapon. The Harriers of this vintage had a very limited arsenal, mainly cluster bombs, rocket pods, and what's called dumb bombs. This of course is an AV8A to the Americans, and a GR1 to the British. So at the end of 1984, these were pretty much replaced by the extended nose GR3. I would argue that the GR3 was the first combat capable Harrier, because it had radar warning systems, and it had the ability to drop laser guided bombs, not designate them. So the GR1 or AV8A was really very much of a basic aircraft. And here we go now to the last AV8B Harrier 2 Plus in service. This is really, this video is dedicated to Ironman, who's persuaded me to rewrite WHATIF history. Harriers only ever served on the amphibious ships, and they still serve with the naval amphibious ships. And here's the replacement, which I've done in a separate video, the F32B. So as you can see, we've gone from a very simple day, good weather attack aircraft to an aircraft which carries a radar, which carries the ability to fight other aircraft, to do its own target and designation role. We've gone to a bigger platform here, a lot more capable, night, bad weather capable, and then we're going to low observable. Although how low observable that intake is questionable, but it is a low observable airframe compared to the Harrier, where you again have a big intake with all the blades on there. Now, some of the downsides of you know, vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. Now, all of my Harriers in service, they would use a short takeoff. So if they were taking off on the LHA, the landing helicopter assault ships, or the LPDs, sorry, the LHAs, they would be using the short takeoff. So they'd be running along the deck, possibly with a ski jump, and off they go. The ski jump I'm considering because it allows them to carry more payload. The same thing with the Harrier 2 Plus. They start at the back of the deck, they come along the deck, off the ski ramp, and off they go, allowing them to carry more payload. They can either do a rolling stop onto the deck when they come on, or they can come alongside the deck and manoeuvre on there. If they manoeuvre on there, they have to be lightly loaded because they're using their hover. The same thing with the F-32B. It will use the ski jump system, so it can carry payload. And then underneath this, these panels here actually open up there, and there's panels that open up at front and rear for your ducting. Because if you look at the Harriers, under the wings, on the very edge of the wing, they have ducts, cold air ducts, and ducts there at the back. And what that is that's a system of stabilisation to keep them stable. So the F-32B has that, but it's all concealed for kind of low observability. One of the strange things about the F-32 series is, apart from the conventional A model, which Italeri never modelled, the weapons bay is on the side, and that's a bit unusual. But the idea is that if you want to drop a weapon, you drop away from the enemy's radar with your low observable side facing the enemy radar, and it's kind of a bit of extra stealth. Now, all of the Harrier kits that Hasegawa do don't have the weather vane, which is up here, which is a way of sensing what the wind's doing. Again, part of the stabilisation system, because it's very unstable landing these things. And here I've just added a little simple weather vane from Plasticard. I hope this helps someone. So yes, it's a bit of a toy model, but it allows me at low cost to build up the VTOL fleet. I've got a GR3 to do. I've got the equivalent of the GR5, GR7 to do, and then they led on to this one. So a lot of building ahead. Take care. I dedicate this video to Ironman. All the best. Goodbye.